Business Pros Radio Show with Paul Tobey. A great topic this morning. It was so popular last week. It was huge. We brought back our special guest for further discussion, and we will get to that. Roxanne will be here in just a few minutes later on in the show. But we always like to get started. Some contact, Paul at trainingbusinesspros.com, and the number this morning and moving forward, 416-444-7767. That is 444-PROS. And you're going to want to remember that number and use it in just a bit. We'll tell you how, tell you when, tell you why. But what's been going on this week, pal?
Well, I was up at 5:30 this morning with
Nice.
a very distressing call. A product launch went off for a major raw dog food company.
Okay. Yeah.
And we crashed the server. We sent so much traffic
That's a good crash.
to the server, it crashed it. So we got this panicked call. And actually, our company's not really, I don't like passing blame, but our company's not responsible for the server. So, we got it sorted, but it was down for a couple hours. So it was a bunch of nasty emails on Facebook saying, I can't get my free dog bowl, that kind of stuff. So
Take it easy.
that's the life of a marketer, right? You're always
Totally.
dealing with these big advertising situations. And that was a pretty big one.
Yeah.
Like the goal for the day was 100,000 in sales.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big for a day?
For a day.
Wow.
Yeah. We're already at 45 and it's only 9 a.m.
Nice.
So
Looks like it's going to happen.
it'll happen. I mean, it's all in the numbers, right?
Yeah.
So essentially what we did, and if anybody's interested in this, by the way, if you think about, we want to introduce a new website, we want to introduce a new product or whatever, there's a process for that. You just don't launch it.
Just
and
slap it up
expect
there.
people to show up.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. You have to be seen mostly through your contact list first. And if you don't have a contact list, that should be
Number one.
hint number one. Get yourself an email list and start building it today, if not yesterday. And then over the 7 days, make sure it's seen everywhere. Facebook, remarketing, Google,
Use all
all
your
kinds
social.
of, use every means possible to get it in front of people 2-3 times.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. People bust the doors down to get whatever offer. And it wasn't that big an offer. I mean, you spend $150, you get a free dog bowl. It's not.
But you'd be amazed
You'd
what
be
people will
amazed
do
at
for
what
it.
people will do for
Yeah.
a dog bowl, and some very frustrated people who couldn't get their bowls. So yeah.
You stand on stage for an event and throw out a T-shirt to people, and they go at it like it's their last breath for a T-shirt. So I know.
It's great because it leads into today's topic because we're really talking about authentic leadership within business and how do employees deal with pressure and how does stress affect people and how does it change the behavior of the organization and how does the organization behave to the level of the core values that you've set because everybody's happy when things are working.
Yep.
But when things go wrong.
Yeah. When tariffs are introduced.
By the way, and this is interesting too, and we'll get Roxanne to weigh on this after the break, but and it was a great discussion last week with her, and it touched a nerve, and that's why we're doing it again, because we often talk about marketing and sales and fulfillment and finance and all of these things that you have to do, but there's also the feeling behind those things, the feeling of the organization, the team building, the leadership. I always think that a strong team with vision, good vision, can pretty much accomplish anything.
Right.
So, and we're going to talk to Roxanne about that, but in my world, it's like, what are the steps that you take to make that happen? And when everything is working, everybody feels great. But when things don't work, what's the order of things
That's
that
when
they
you need the plan,
What's
right?
the order of things that usually happen? And here's the order. Number one, the first thing that people do is blame somebody else.
Pass the
That's
buck.
number one. Just blame somebody else. Blame the IT. Blame the server. Blame, don't accept. And the reason why they do that is because they don't want to accept responsibility. Nobody wants responsibility, right? Number two is they complain about it to a bunch of people that will listen,
Colleagues,
which is usually
generally.
other people who are to blame.
That's right.
And they build a little posse, and they all talk about, it's so-and-so's fault. He didn't do anything, but he's a good scapegoat, right? Let's complain about him. And then finally, they eventually come around to justification, right? Here are all the reasons why it didn't go well. Here are all the reasons why we're not successful. Here are all the reasons why, things didn't work out. You with me?
Yep.
So blame, justification, and complaining.
Yep.
The only problem with those things are, even though that's what we do, even though that's the way we behave, what's the problem with that?
It's not constructive.
Well,
doesn't solve anything.
None of that gets better results.
Yeah, nothing.
So what is the focus? How do you respond to challenges? How do you create a concept of behavioral change within the organization? And so that introduces today's topic. We're really talking about authentic leadership because there's a big conference coming up on June the 22nd that I've been invited to speak at. It's being run by our dear friend Roxanne, who's here. We'll introduce her properly after the break. And we're giving away 20 pairs of tickets again. We got rid of 20 pairs last week.
Quickly.
We're going to get rid of 20 pairs this week because we just felt it was a good thing to do that.
Yeah.
But we also are going to give away some books as well along with the tickets. So we're talking about $250 worth of value for each ticket. So that's pretty good.
With books, yeah.
With books. And books are from all the speakers at the event.
Get them signed.
He can get them signed afterward. And all they got to do is call the number. You're going to give them the number.
416-444-PROS. Just that simple. 416-444-PROS. 7767.
And so we have people standing by. If you can't get through, leave a message. We'll call you back.
Yeah,
don't worry that you don't
panic.
have to call 17 times. We'll call you back. But most likely somebody will answer and put you on hold. But if you get through, or when you get through, the tickets are yours.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Yeah, we'll let you know when we run out.
We'll take a short break and lots more on the way. The Authentic Leadership Conference, details on that, the giveaway stuff you can store, and we'll talk to Roxanne after a short break. Again, you want to take advantage here on the Business Bros Radio Show. The number 416-444-PROS. Lots more coming up. Hang on. And back with more of the Business Bros Radio Show with Paul Tobey. The number to take advantage of tickets and the Authentic Leadership Conference. We'll get to that in just a moment. 416-444-PROS is the way. I want to welcome back Roxanne Derhodge to the show, the CEO of the Authentic Connection Movement. Over 25 years as corporate consultant, along with being a psychotherapist. Oh, I'm in trouble. She's an Amazon bestseller and a subject matter expert on authentic leadership and how it impacts companies' bottom line. If you don't understand what that means, we're going to tell you in a moment. She's fantastic. And welcome back, Roxanne.
Thanks for having me.
Can't wait till next Friday.
Awesome. I hope you make it.
It's going to be good.
John and I both enjoyed our conversation from last week, and we want to thank you for your time and coming back because it kind of touched a nerve amongst our business listeners because we often talk about, like I said before the break, business stuff, marketing, sales, fulfillment, HR, finance, all of the things that kind of make systems and processes and policies for companies, but we often avoid the whole concept of how are the people within the organization not just surviving, but thriving within an organization. So it's nice to have you here.
Well, thank you. And I thought last week, based on the two suicides, what a timely spot that we were actually taping at that time, and the impact that's had, the peripheral effect of people thinking about that whole issue of success, and like you said, the hard, pragmatic things in business are real, and we all need to do them. Myself included, but the soft end of things, I think, is something that a lot more people are thinking about when we recognize that we can be vulnerable as leaders, or also as having employees, and being a bit more cognizant of what we need to know to be able to, as leaders, be connected to ourselves, so that we can in turn more effectively meet the needs of people that are impacting us on a day-to-day basis, and ultimately our business and our bottom line.
Thanks. I'm curious, actually, how did you get involved in mental health in the first place? Like, how did that come about? Like, how does someone choose that they want to be a mental health practitioner or even a psychotherapist? Like, how do you choose that?
Well, I come from a small island of Trinidad and Tobago, and I was one of those kids that, they called me chatterbox when I was like 11. So my parents, tried to shut me up. But ultimately it was like, okay, well, I love speaking to people. I liked the impact that I had on people, and thought, well, what could I do? I was not, the left-brained kid that liked, the traditional kind of careers. So I decided to go to U of T to pursue at that time psychology, and went on to grad work, and then just was actually in business quite young.
What age did you show up in Toronto?
I came to Toronto at 16.
16.
Yeah, as a foreign student, and then went on to school and got into business. I sold real estate for a couple of years, and then was drawn to helping people. But ultimately, where did I end up? Back in helping people, but on a business perspective.
I know this has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I've noticed in my work as a trainer over the last 12 years or so that there's a lot of T&B students. Is there, are they just learn-it-alls, the Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, Trinidad, they impressed on all of us and that education is power and wisdom. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of people left the island. I was one of those 70s brats with when the little island was, rich with oil. And so people like myself and a lot of other friends, they left the island and went all over the world. And unfortunately for the island, we stayed, in Europe or the US or Canada. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I kind of started my path, working frontline. Actually, my very first job was as part of a trauma team with the Metro Toronto Police.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess the police would need some kind of guidance in mental health, I suppose.
Well, we would respond to victims of crime.
Right.
Families.
So the Authentic Connection movement, and again, I mean, I've noticed that amongst the people from where you're from, a lot of them are very successful. A lot of them have written books. I know them personally, and you as well. And they create things. And you've created this thing called the Authentic Connection movement. Just briefly, what is that? Then we'll take a break.
Well, I think the core of who we are as people is that we all want to be connected. And if we can connect on a deep level with individuals, we can impact change. And I look at it as authenticity is about being real. And the more real you are, you can impact I call it concentric circles of connection around you. And then, that peripheral effect of connecting with people and them seeing you as real, the impact could be invisible but powerful.
We're going to get deeper into this. Yeah. And if people want to hang around, I think it's a good idea to hang around till the end of the show, because not only are we giving away tickets to this conference, which is a full day of this really good discussion for you. I think whatever you learn is good for you. But in this particular case, it's the intangibles. I think if logic and reason were the only thing we had to create success in life, it'd be a very small world.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We got Roxanne will stick around for the remainder of the show. I'm going to tell you right now, 20 pairs of tickets could be yours for the, not 20 pairs for you, but a pair of 20.
Well, they could have 19 friends, right?
That's a good point. They could, right? Either way, it's 20 pairs of tickets going out of here, the Authentic Leadership Conference. The way to get them, the phone call, 416-444-7767. Lots more Business Bros Radio Show is coming up on Global News Radio. Radio Show, the number to call to take advantage of a pair of tickets to the Authentic Leadership Conference coming up on the 22nd. That would be the Friday. And the number is 416-444-PRO-7767. Roxanne Derhodge with us once again. And it was so good last week. Paul, I know you had amazing response from our listeners saying, man, I got to get into this conference. I want to take advantage of the books. I want to meet the people who are going to be speaking there. So we're back with Roxanne again, because it's what they want, right?
Well, part of my responsibility as someone who's helping people get what they want, right. I notice when things work. And last week's discussion worked so well that people picked up all the tickets and were like, okay, well, we still have space at this conference. Why don't we just do it again? This time, we're also giving away books. So if you get your ticket, you can actually get 6 books by the 6 speakers that are at the conference. And if you want your book signed, we can sign the book. So there's another $150 worth of value. And people's like, well, why are you so generous? And my perspective on this is, what goes around comes around. What you give out, you get back. There's an equal and opposite to everything in the universe. So everything that I give out, I don't expect anything back from these people. But what I do expect is some kind of reward from somewhere and an expectation of success. So the Authentic Connection movement and conference is on Friday, June the 22nd. Starts at noon. You can come early, network. Goes to 5:30. You can stay late, network.
Sure.
Get some food. Yeah. Have a good time. It's at the Sandman Hotel in Mississauga.
On Dixie, right?
Dixie. Is it on Dixie?
Yes, 5400 Dixie
on Dixie,
Road,
5400 Dixie. And so that was Roxanne, and we're really talking about what we're going to learn here. Yeah. So who are the speakers, and what are they bringing to the table?
Well, we have an amazing lineup other than myself and you, which is I'm privileged that you're going to be able to join us. We're going to have CEO Space that will actually do a networking event, and they do something called SNAP, which is how to accelerate a networking to a profound level so that you'll be able to walk out of that room and know people that could potentially help you. We have Elena Chapman. She's an international bestseller and a speaker. She'll talk about the prisons of the mind. We have Stephen Clark, who will talk a little...
Prisons of the Mind.
Prisons of the Mind.
It's a great movie title.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what it means.
I love that.
It's a good band name.
Is that the name of her book, by the way?
Yes, it is. It is.
Wow, what a great name.
Yeah, so she'll actually talk about the pragmatic...
Can I get a copy of that?
Absolutely. You
get it signed, Paul.
You can get a picture,
Apparently you're going to be there.
You can get a picture, too.
Perfect. I can selfie. Awesome.
Yeah, selfie with yourself in the books.
Be imprisoned by a cell phone. Yeah, that sounds great. What else?
We have Stephen Clark, who believe Stephen said he knows of you. He's from Toronto, and he'll be talking a little bit about how to connect at a profound level with your newer generation, your millennials, because they're so much into social enterprise and giving back. He'll talk about how do you connect on a level to attract individuals, to be able to stay and retain them. Oftentimes I know people talk about some of the difficulties about keeping your good talent.
I love that word, attract.
Yes, for sure.
That's really... I think a lot of people misunderstand attract. I think people more and more people are thinking they attract a lot of bad stuff into their life. And why does this happen? And the answer is it's not by accident. You get what you focus on. So if you're continuously focusing on things going wrong, things will continue to go wrong. But if you have an expectation of things going well and results being created, those are the things that you will attract.
Absolutely. And I think those core things, I was in a networking event last night, and it's talking about the actual pragmatic things you can do, right? So you can have an awesome business plan and things go badly, like you said, but how do you stay focused on the big picture and the why of it? And how do you manage that mental to ensure that, you're replenishing it daily and so that you can be buffed and ready mentally to be able to take on any challenge that comes your way.
Why do people avoid the responsibility, though?
The responsibility of
things going badly.
Well,
why do we blame other people when things go wrong?
Well, because it defers responsibility from us. We don't really, oftentimes as human beings, want to feel pain. We want to feel pleasure. So sometimes it's a deflection, right? If I don't want to look at myself, and I don't, it kind of keeps me safe. But when I look at myself and look at my responsibility and what part or what role I'm taking in an interaction, that's deep stuff, which sometimes becomes difficult for individuals.
Do you remember The Secret?
I absolutely do.
I was one of the first people, probably not the first people, but I was in the early stages when it was going around the internet, and you could pay, I don't know, remember what it was, like $4 or something like that to watch this movie. And it just kind of it was actually the most successful online movie launch in history to that point. Because now everything is streaming. Now you can get it, Crave TV and Netflix and everything. But back then there wasn't such a thing. And Oprah basically launched this whole, thing online for The Secret, and she talked about it, and it just kind of took off like wildfire. The interesting part about it is I learned a lot from that. They didn't exactly tell you how to do it. They told you what it was, but they didn't really say how to do it. But I went and started learning a lot more about how to attract the life that I wanted. And then eventually when I did get to Carnegie Hall, which is the only thing I ever wanted to do, I remember in the front row at Carnegie Hall, out of 2,200 people, there was like 5 or 6 people from the movie The Secret.
Isn't that?
Because it was a Bob Proctor event, right? And it was there was Marianne Williamson was there, and Skip Beckwith, and all of these people from The Secret. And they're probably thinking, well, who's this guy on stage playing the piano? And they probably don't even know who I am. But what they didn't realize is that whole thing was manifested as a result of focusing on what I wanted. And even after I left the music business, I'm still attracting Carnegie Hall.
Isn't that amazing?
That's cool.
The power of the mind, right? We talk about it and we slight it, but really, what you focus on grows.
And what you focus on expands, yeah.
Absolutely. And if you focus on it, and there's studies, there's a Japanese researcher that works with water, and I'm going to forget his name, but there's actually pieces of water that he's done experimentation on where for 30 days you say really bad things to this water, and 30 days you say really, really positive things, the negative ice becomes visibly, ugly looking, and the ice that has been spoken to really, really phenomenally is beautiful.
Subatomic level, right? So they have these like super micron microscopes that look at the molecular makeup of the water, and it changed. So one is really all jaggy. But actually, I don't know if it's the same study, but I know of a study where in the New York subway system, they put these two things of water, and the one said, positive, and the other one said, ugly or negative or whatever. And as people focused on them, the commuters every day, then they looked at the water like after 30 days, and they looked at the molecular structure and the makeup of the water, and it's completely different. One was like all beautiful and wavy and stuff, and then the other one was like jaggedy and crummy.
Wow.
Yeah, people can just look that up online. I'm not the world's leading authority on those things, but I am aware of that. So
absolutely.
So yeah, it's about focus, right? So what you focus on expands. So we're going to give away the tickets. John's going to tell you how to get them. Yep. Go ahead.
And we'll take a short break as well. The number 416-444-PROS, that is 7767. It's the Authentic Leadership Conference coming up Friday the 22nd in Mississauga. Take advantage of that and lots more with Roxanne, and Paul returns as well. The Business Pros Radio Show, Global News Radio. Business Pros Radio Show. We are talking again this week about the Authentic Leadership Conference that is happening at the Sandman Hotel, 5400 Dixie in Mississauga. Want to go? You should go. Some tickets up for grabs, 20 pairs. You just have to call this number, 416-444-PROS. And if you get answered and put on hold, just be patient. The tickets are there. You can have them. Just, have a coffee and relax. They'll get to your name and your number, and you're off to see that particular conference next Friday. Roxanne Derhodge still here.
Yeah, Roxanne,
Amazing.
I wanted to talk more about the conference. So let's say I'm one of the people who's listening to the radio show right now, and I'm not sure whether I should take the free ticket, even though it's $100, and I recognize that from a monetary standpoint and how much I can save. I still have to give up a day.
Absolutely.
Which for a lot of people is an investment because people are busy and they work and they make livelihood. So why do I want to go?
I think you're going to learn some actual practical things. What we know in leadership is if you can intervene earlier, if there are issues, in a company, for instance, and you recognize that, let's say 10% of your employee base may have concerns, and I'm talking day-to-day concerns. What we know across North America, that most people that have problems that would keep them away from work are relationship-based. If you're able to kind of look at that and learn strategies that would allow you to implement things within your environment to retain or minimize the amount of days off that someone would take off, that's a benefit. You're going to learn actual strategies. You're going to learn actual practical things. There's motivation and then there's practicality. We're going to teach you some actual things that you can do to enhance your mental, but also to understand what potentially people around you are going through.
And we have how many speakers?
We have 7.
7 speakers, and I'm one of them?
Yes, you are. And the one
that was a question, by the way.
Better start prepping, Paul.
And there's Brian Cuban, who I did not mention.
Oh, yeah.
Brian Cuban is going to be there. I forgot.
Mark Cuban's brother, right?
Yeah, I was remiss in mentioning him. And he's now become an advocate for mental wellness, and he's going to talk about his path and what kind of things he's done as a high pressure lawyer, and some of the concerns he had, so that employers can learn about it and potentially create things again in your environment. You're going to still get 10 to 12% of your population that may have concerns, but there's sometimes everyday concerns. If 65% of people are having relationship issues, we all can say we've had relationship issues in our lives. But if you can intervene in a way, you're going to learn things that may be able to assist people and make them more productive and healthy at work.
Sometimes a story like that is just inspirational. I find that there's really 3 types of speakers. There's inspirational, motivational, and informational.
Absolutely.
And I always expect when I go to these things that there's 3 types. I actually like to be all 3. I like to be a source of inspiration. I like to provide motivation. But to me, it's the tangible things, the measurable things, the things that you can do that create a realistic, and sometimes not realistic, sometimes better than realistic result. Because I'm very results oriented. I'm like, pick a goal, make sure you set the bar high, because if you set the bar low, all you're trying to do is not be disappointed.
Right.
But if you set it high, then you'll come somewhere between, well, where you're at now and the place, the person that you want to be, or the thing you want to do, or the thing you want to have or create in your life. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think you're going to get a bit of everything. You're going to get Brian, you're going to get actual practical things that I would suggest. Elena's going to give you actual concrete tips. You're going to talk about mission and vision and actual ways that people can get connected to the why. So I think you're going to get a combination of things at this event. So I think the benefit is you're going to actually get skills. You're going to have a sense of how to think about mental wellness. And I think it scares a lot of people. Nobody wants to think about it. And, being scared of the soft end of business, as we can see, we all need to focus on that. We need the actual practical things in business, but we also have to recognize that people work for us.
And mental wellness can be measured by behavior. So if you create, and this is one of the things I'll be talking about, the vision with the company, and I subscribe to the Jim Collins version of vision, which is mission, purpose, core values. Mission, where are we going? Purpose, why are we going to do that? And core values is the how. That's the behavioral sets of core values that you set for your employees, your leadership, your management, and everybody that you work with, even clients, by the way. You can set that for customers as well. These are the behavioral traits I'd like our customers to exhibit. To me, that's the part that's the most important, the how, right? How do you go about something? It's great having a great vision. It's nice to know why you're doing that, but how does the rubber hit the road?
Absolutely. And what's, regardless of what level of the organization is, if you think of your middle managers, so let's say, to your front line, they need to know if you're making a decision and it's out of line with your perceived value, how are you demonstrating that? So communicate. And how are you communicating when you have to make some massive changes that some of the frontline or your middle managers may not know how that's going to impact the overall growth of the business? So I think some of that is, like you said, some of the small things that hopefully we'll be able to teach individuals how to pass on that information in a way that's palatable and clear.
Yeah. So, John, you've been relatively quiet. What do you think about all of this?
I think it's good. And I think, a lot of people might be thinking, based on whatever you glean from the actual conference coming up on the 22nd, it's like, yeah, but what happens if I forget half of it by the time I get back to the parking lot? You're getting 6 books to go along with it, right?
When good intentions run smack dab into reality.
Exactly, right? But you've got the books, too. Don't forget, you got the books to go along with. So, you got something to take home and ruminate on later.
I can guarantee if somebody's thinking, well, should I take the tickets? Just take the tickets and come and let us help you through that. That's our job. Our job. We've designated ourselves, or the other speakers have designated themselves as leaders at this event to guide you. And they don't know everything. I can't possibly know everything. There's a lot more things I don't know anything about than the things I actually know. Right. But I don't talk about those things.
That's right.
I talk about the things that created results for me and the companies that I work with. And this is an important subject, the concept of authentic. And I think when we get back to after the break, let's just talk about what authentic actually is.
Right. Business Pros Radio Show. You want to go to the conference? Really simple. Got tickets for you. 416-444-PROS. That is 7767. It's coming up on the 22nd in Mississauga, the Sandman Hotel. Call now and get your tickets, and we will see you there. Lots more of the Business Pros Radio Show is on the way. This is Global News Radio. And Business Pros Radio Show. Roxanne Derhodge is here. Paul Tobey, of course, hosting this show as we do every week. We are back to a little bit of what we did last week. I guess you say by popular demand, right? Roxanne was here last week, and it was so successful. People want to know more, learn more, and get more. So more tickets happening for the Authentic Leadership Conference that is happening on the 22nd. It's the Sandman Hotel in Mississauga. Just, make the call, 416-444-7767. It's a Friday. Call in sick. Come to the conference. It's going to be fantastic. You'll meet speakers. You can get some books if you get the tickets, and, it'll be great. Get them signed. Walk away with something and learn a whole lot, right?
Very well said. I want to add to that because they are valuable tickets. So the tickets are $100 a piece, and you can grab, if they're there early enough, you can grab another 6 books from the speakers that are there at the event, including mine called Suggestology, which is a bestseller easily. In Canada, and obviously Roxanne's book and every other speaker. It's good value. You're going to learn something. I guarantee it. And if you're thinking, well, it's going to be like heavy and it's going to be one of those, not my part. What I bring to the table usually is like I like people to have fun. I like them to exhibit enthusiasm. I like to be interactive, and I don't put people to sleep. I don't lecture anybody. If you want to get lectured, go to university. Go back to university.
Yeah.
Lecture, test, forget.
Right.
This is not like that. This is like an interactive conference where you're participating. If you want to share your views on things, we're always open to that. Questions, we'll take them. Mm-hmm. It's going to be fun. Roxanne?
I think absolutely. And myself, I've been speaking the last couple of days, and I try to give actual practical things, right? So that people can when they're stressed out or, the email doesn't go out at 12:01 like it's supposed to for your launch and they're freaking out. What happens is a lot of times people are unfortunately in that state in business when things aren't going well. So I actually try to engage my audience so they're actually, yesterday I was at Brock University and I had like 500 people up doing a neuroscience technique just about being present. Because of course, yes, is it deep stuff? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, to Paul's point, you want to have fun. But I also want you to walk away with something, and the president of the university said to me, wow, I actually stopped and thought that I can actually pull up these 3 pictures of the most important people in my life and remember why I'm doing what I'm doing when things aren't making sense. So I think, those are the things that I will discuss. And like Paul, I like to be fun. It's it's nice to be able to share the information and the expertise that I've gained over the 25 years.
I think a lot of what happens at a conference like this, especially with guests like yourself and Paul, is even if you come in expecting not to get anything, through osmosis, something's going to creep in there that's going to be positive.
Yeah, I don't think anybody actually goes to an event hoping it's going to be bad.
Yeah,
I think they show up with an expectation of, okay, if I pull one good idea or one good behavioral change that I can apply to my life to get what I want, because I don't think anybody out there is probably thinking, well, I'm done. I've created everything I want. Yeah. I've got nothing else to do. Stop learning, start dying. Here's an interesting one because Brian Cuban, the brother of Mark Cuban, if you don't know, watch Shark Tank or know who Mark Cuban is, this is his brother. It's got to be tough being.
Yeah, it's a little tough.
Mark Cuban's brother.
It's like being Tom Hanks' son. Damn it. Colin, you're okay, but
check this out. It's like. It's my triumph over dysmorphic disorder and the addicted lawyer. Tales of bar, booze, blow, and redemption.
See, I'm sold already.
We have to listen to that story because here's somebody that's obviously been dragged through the mud, probably mostly through choice. And a lot of people say, well, I didn't do that. I didn't create that. If you look at all bad things that have ever happened in your life, I'm sure if you took some responsibility, you would see that you had a lot of responsibility in creating your current situation. So that's going to be inspiring to see how he got out of something which seemingly, I'm just reading the words, bar, booze, blow, and redemption. That's
absolutely. And I recently did an interview with him, and it's quite the story. The path that he took and the real major dips, right? He talked about some of the really, really deep dips and what he's done and continues to do today, 10 years into recovery. And then, just looked about high pressure situations, being in the legal field and those types of things and things that senior executives or people that maybe are prone to kind of he called them the AAA type personalities, what kind of things they need to be aware of. Because he never thought he would be in the space that he was. And the things that he continues to talk about at a senior leader level for individuals that are predisposed to, not take breaks, are always doing too much or not finding that balance. So he shares a lot of really great wisdom in his speech about that.
Want to mention the tickets again. You want to take advantage, 20 pairs, you can have some. 416-444-PROS is the number. Again, the conference is going to be on the 22nd, the Friday, at the Sandman Hotel in Mississauga. It's going to be good.
And it's $200 for a pair of tickets. Plus, some signed books by the speakers at the event. So this is not This is not a simple giveaway. This is extreme value from my perspective. I mean, people may not see it that way, but let me help you see it that way.
Right.
That's the purpose, right? It's like let's go to this thing, let's get some value, and let's see if we can not just change our lives and the lives of people around us, but let's affect people in a positive and meaningful way.
I completely agree because if you walk away with something that you can implement with the people around you, what a gift that you've been able to give, and also things you're going to learn for yourself. Like entrepreneurs and leaders, they're go, and they're constantly pumping out things. But then, what simple things could you potentially do on a daily basis, and when you don't have the time to be able to really stay focused and stay healthy. There's small strategies that you can do, 5-10 minutes here or there to be able to get really connected with your body, with your thoughts and your feelings. That doesn't mean that you have to go out for a nature hike for 45 minutes during the day, because we know that most of us don't have that kind of time.
I love the stay focused, stay healthy. If you want to stay focused, here's a way to get completely focused, okay? It's called the phone. Pick it up, dial 416 444-7767. Do that right now. That takes a lot of focus, right, to do that. 444-7767. And somebody is waiting to take your call. All you got to do is say, I want the tickets. We'll give you the tickets. You show up on June the 22nd, Friday. It's a Friday. Yep. You get there around 11:30, network with some people. And the speakers start at noon, go till like 5, 6 o'clock. And then you can network afterwards. So even if you are just showing up to see what it's all about and you're not sure, I guarantee you, it's actually, we'll give you your money back.
Wow.
Oh, wait. They didn't, they're not paying. It's a gift.
Give the tickets back. Still go. Makes no sense.
Yeah. So anyway, it's good value. And I think stay focused, stay healthy. Focused is picking up the phone and calling. Staying healthy is coming to the event and learning how to do that.
I think if you're a company of one or a company of 1,000, someone's going to benefit from this if you're at the top with the people below you. Because you must deal with this in your practice, Paul, your business. You have a certain type of personality. You know how you function, but there's probably 30 different personalities of people underneath you that could be the stress of having to deal with them. And I think they're going to glean something from this conference to deal with them, right?
I often do that with clients. I put them into one of 4 categories, them and their middle managers and their, it's like, there's controllers, there's analytics, there's promoters, and there's supporters. I like putting them into personality categories because that just tells you how to communicate with them. But at the end of the day, it's really about the core values of every single one of those personalities at its core, which is the driving force behind the livelihood and the success of any company. And I help a lot of companies do that, actually. It's funny. We could do all the marketing we want, we do all the sales push we want, but at the end of the day, if the company is not healthy, no matter what your promises are, if you make your claims and your promises bigger than your proof, you're going to fail. And so it's not just about selling, it's about living up to those promises that you're giving your clients.
416-444-PROS, that is 7767. Take advantage, get those tickets, just call, say, I want them. The conference, the Authentic Leadership Conference, that is on Friday the 22nd. You can be there, hang out for the day, learn lots, and get some books, and get them signed as well. It's going to be really cool. Still a few minutes left. We'll continue with Roxanne Derhodge here on the Business Pros Radio Show. This is Global News Radio. Business Pros Radio Show. It is coming up next Friday, the 22nd, the Sandman Hotel in Mississauga on Dixie. We're talking about the Authentic Leadership Conference. You want a pair of tickets? You can get them. Just call now. See you want them. 416-444-7767. A great lineup of speakers going to be talking at the conference, including you, Paul. Some books to be given away. Get them signed and walk away at the end of the day with a lot more than when you came in the door.
June the 22nd is going to be a special day. Yeah. I'm glad to be a part of it. For those of you that want to know what the Authentic Leadership Conference is all about, let me give you a lineup of speakers, okay? Brian Cuban, Roxanne Derhodge, she's here with us this morning. Yeah. Dave Phillipson, Alina Chapman, Paul Tobey. I know that guy.
So do I.
And there's 3 more speakers to be announced, and we're kind of putting the final touches on those. So It's a great event. It's near the airport at the Sandman Hotel, Mississauga. And I'm expecting it to be great. I'm not expecting it to be, here's another conference and I get to speak at. I don't actually choose lightly the places that I participate.
For that reason.
And I love the concept of authentic leadership. I belong there. From my perspective, it's something that I'm passionate about. And if you've enjoyed the Business Pros Radio Show over the last more than a year, and you've never met me, come out and meet me. If that's your own, just come out and meet me, and I'll talk to you. I'll help you if you've got a question. I'll answer it. I've got time. That's what I do.
Looking forward to it, Roxanne. You must
absolutely.
Be. Yeah.
It's been exciting. It's connecting with all the energy of all the speakers and all the things that they've done in the world has been amazing to hear. And I've been obviously doing some podcasts with them too. So really getting to the, even getting to know Paul a bit better too. It's really impressive when you see what people have done in their careers and the wisdom that they'll be bringing for the day. So I'm excited not only to speak, but to obviously gain all the information that these wonderful people will be sharing.
It's a good conference when the actual guest speakers are even more excited than the people attending. That's what makes for a great conference, right? So
every conference that I go to, I always go to the other sessions. Always, because I know there's things I'm going to pick up.
Good call.
It goes far beyond the discussion in the green room. I show up and I learn because I'm a learn-it-all, not a know-it-all. And I think if more people adopted a learn-it-all mentality, they would probably achieve a lot more than they think was even possible.
Are you recommending this to a lot of the clients you've worked with? I bet you are.
Well, we actually haven't sent an email invite out yet because we've been doing other things with our mailing list.
Right.
I have, I think, 12,000 in the Toronto area. I'm going to send out an email. And
they're probably listening anyway.
Invite them to the event. I haven't really thought about how I'm going to do that or what I'm going to say. Because an email is very different than a conversation. Yeah. So it has to cut through and it has to motivate and inspire somebody to go take an action, which is to sign up and come to the event. So I'm going to do that. So I'm expecting a lot of my clients to be there actually. And, I'm always encouraging my following to do other things.
Roxanne Derhodge, thank you very much for the second week in a row showing up. It's going to be a fantastic conference, not just us. You can be there as well. They're giving away tickets. Paul's got them. You want them, just call, and they can be yours. 416-444-7767. That is 444-PROS. You've got them. Going to be next Friday. Sandman Hotel in Mississauga. Starts around noon, give or take, and goes right to 5:30. Lots to be learned. It's going to be fantastic. You're going to meet the event speakers and get some books, get them signed as well. It's going to be a full day, so take full advantage of that.